Stream. Welcome, everyone. We're just about to get started, and we'll start in just a minute as people start coming through. Right on at 10 o'clock here in Cebu in the Philippines today. Let's start letting everyone in. Fantastic. For our regular attendees, we're just about to start. Great to see you here. We're coming from our new office location in Cebu in the Philippines today, as our live stream manager has a day off, so we're not in the studio. We're coming just directly from the office. And righto, that's 10 o'clock. So welcome along, everybody. Great to have you here for the first of our digital transformation episodes. Today, we're broadcasting from Cebu, the Philippines, at our new innovation center in Cebu. So we've set up a whole floor in IT Park, which is the home of where all the technical work happens here in the Philippines. And out behind me, we've got about 140 seats of people, and some working from home, some in the office, a bit hybrid, that are all focused on helping organizations to scale and exceed using AI and digital transformation. And this is the space for us all to be in today for our organizations. I think most will be feeling the pressure of things like, in the economy where we've had, a rise in inflation. We've got salaries going up. We've got customers that are wanting cheaper prices or greater terms in order to trade effectively. Right across the world, there's pressure to do more with less, and it's always been that way. It just seems right now that pressure is greater, and it couldn't have been a better time to now look at technology through a different lens to actually help support us in achieving amazing results. My name is Matt Kesby. I'm the Chief AI Officer and founder at Multiply Tech and GoTeam. So at Multiply Tech, we're building the products and the tools to help your businesses to scale and exceed. And at GoTeam, we supply full-time team members for clients all around the world, about 1,100 people, in fact, that we help support organizations with full-time workers that are empowered by AI. So GoTeam is the home of AI-powered people. And together, we bring this people and technology play together. This will be a weekly session on digital transformation, about 30 minutes. We can keep it relatively short. And the intention here is to keep upgrading the knowledge around automation and innovation for SMEs in particular. And I think a lot of the big sort of step changes that we'll see that the large corporates can access, you'll be able to soon do this, not at the pricing or investment that they need to do, but actually at the pricing that we need it to be at for an SME to get the breakthrough and changes. A big area that we'll look at is the boost in customer experience as well. And because that whole customer experience piece from customer support, sales, and then the ongoing account management afterwards is so critical in every organization, because we really want you to be able to lead the way and have the competitive edge as things start moving at such a fast pace. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you insights from a whole range of different organizations, but one in particular is McKinsey. And McKinsey & Co, absolutely the global leaders in digital transformation, specifically for large enterprise. And you need a pretty big budget if you're going to be working with McKinsey directly, but that doesn't mean you should be missing out on such great information and the way to do things. So we'll be breaking this down to make it more accessible for an SME. That being said, it's great to have a look at some of their research, and especially at a high level, on the impact that we'll see with generative AI in particular, as well as automation, when it comes to the impact on productivity. Let's actually hear from Rodney Zemmel, who's one of the heads of digital transformation at McKinsey, as he shares their research and insight into what's coming from a productivity impact perspective.
The economic potential. So McKinsey Global Institute, so our economic think tank that you're probably familiar with, has done a lot of modeling of what's the impact going to be of AI overall and Gen AI in particular. And I realize as I show this chart, it sort of draws your eyes to the wrong place, because you look at it and you see this enormous bar in high tech and in retail, and then smaller bars in agriculture and insurance and so on. But the real message from this chart is these are 50 to 250 billion in every industry, right? So no matter what industry you're looking at, the impact here is going to be enormous. And we actually see, or McKinsey Global Institute sees this, as being essentially an 8-year pull forward of what people thought the economic impact of AI was going to be.
An 8-year pull forward of the economic impact for AI. So it's not very often you get up in the morning and all of a sudden the forecasts for 8 years ahead are being pulled forward to today. And so, it's this information that, from my perspective, that says it's time to act now in this zone. So we can't wait, because if you look at the competitors that will jump on this quickly, will suddenly take the lion's share of the marketplace and have significant impact. The other area that's quite interesting in their research is because when you look at digital transformation, it actually impacts the entire organization. The challenge with that is it can be very overwhelming of making the decision of where to start first. And so the research that's done here is looking at where specifically within organizations will we see the greatest benefit for the least amount of effort, which I think is what we're all looking to do to get as much leverage as possible. So let's hear from Rodney again.
The other interesting thing, though, is the impact's actually pretty concentrated. If you look across all of those functions, there's about 65 use cases in these, so all those industries, in these 6 or 7 functions that are driving more than 3/4 of the value. And I'll get more specific. I'll sort of relate these to applications in a moment. But yes, this will transform legal. Yes, this will transform corporate. This will transform finance and so on. But it'll really, really transform sales and marketing, the software or technology function, anything to do with customer operations, and anything to do with product R&D or technical operations.
All right. So sales, marketing, customer operations, if you have finance in your, if you have software development in your organization, absolutely huge impact there because of just the way that we can now code with AI supporting what we're doing. We see it ourselves. And then from an SME perspective, I'm going to throw finance in there as well. So marketing, customer service, the sales support operations, the software, and then finance. The reason I put finance in there, you'll see it either next week or the week after in our sessions, where things like accounts receivable it's such an important part of a business, and where we can utilize AI sort of before, during, and after when you're in your AR cycles. And if we look at what some of the things that McKinsey are even doing just internally at the moment, they've came out with the research that 19% of the week is spent asking internal questions on how to do things and where to find information. And here's what McKinsey built for their consultants to help them become more effective.
If you look at the thing that we chose to shape, this is just a very simple sort of chat interface for all of our consultants. We're up to about half of our consultants so far. It'll be all by the end of October. And what it allows the team to do is just to ask a simple question like, how do I do a retail store operations diagnostic? And it will then search across 42 different databases inside the firm, 150,000 hours of external interviews that we've digitized, our sanitized staffing logs that say who's worked on what sort of project in what industry, and out comes a sort of draft answer to the question, right? Here's the approach. It sources it to specific internal documents. It names specific experts to call. And then if you click to another panel, it will ask the same question on like an open, on sort of just sort of a general open AI model with confidentiality protections around it. And it will give you, what does the outside world think is the answer to that question? What can you find in Harvard Business Review and so on?
Now, just in case that went a bit fast, essentially what this is doing is internally at McKinsey, it's like being able to pick up the phone and call each of those experts, know exactly who to call, and they will know exactly what information to get out. They'll then prepare the documentation, write it for you to make it a lot simpler. Now, you can imagine how many hours would be lost in an organization as a multinational trying to find the right experts to get this information. Now it's available to be accessed instantly. Now, there's many people on the call today that have been joining me on our Flow Friday sessions, learning about how to become flow engineers, orchestrating AI agents to essentially do this, what McKinsey's doing, and to do it with no code. Don't have to have a technical team to set this up. Don't need to go through the millions invested in order to build a product like this. In fact, you're able to do it yourselves today. And for those that might be new to it, as an example, in this video here. I'll turn the audio off because I'll just talk over it. The ability to actually achieve in your own organization what McKinsey's got, and to do this at a fraction of the cost, like a minuscule component. So in this example here, we've got the ability to have an AI agent, specifically in this case for an employee handbook, to be able to present that and then ask it any question. Like, for example, can you tell me about your employee referral program? And this interface, just like you saw there with McKinsey, goes off into the data sources that you've connected it to ask that question and bring back pinpoint accuracy on the information, so there's no more guesswork. And in our own studies, what we see is that even if you've got great documentation in an organization, people don't use it. The utility of even a wiki, or where you might have processes and procedures and FAQs stored, people don't go back and read them or search for them. However, they're very happy to chat with an AI to get the answers out. And today that's chat, like with using our keyboards, but within the next couple of months, this will be, you'll just talk to it like it's as a human responding to you. And when we get to that phase there, we'll see that with the utility of just speech, given that we speak at 140 words per minute on average, but most people only type at 40 words per minute, you'll see the way people access information, this impact on productivity increases, and the reduction in errors that occur. Because typically what will happen in an organization is someone will turn to an expert or someone who's been in the organization for a period of time, ask them a question on how to do something, and in doing so interrupts their day. And then there's a risk that the information you get back isn't necessarily best practice. And because they haven't read the documentation either. So as you're growing and scaling your businesses, documentation is so critical, but even more critical is that people are actually going to read it and use it. And we're seeing that it's having the utility of AI that makes all the difference in order to ensure consistency occurs. So tools like Rhea Pro, which is our no-code AI agent building platform, you can check that one out at rea.pro. And there's even a freemium version where you can jump on and just give it a run, find out more. If you do that, we do encourage you to join us on our Flow Friday sessions, where we teach you actually how to build the no-code AI agents, bring them together and set up these role-specific AIs in your organization to support people with their documentation. Now, where and how to begin when it comes to digital transformation and applying AI and automation? I think it can become a bit overwhelming. Now, we might have narrowed it down a little bit here. We've said we've got marketing and sales and customer support, and software development and finance. If we're just going to narrow it down to those 5 areas, that's a good starting point. But a couple of things are going to pop up. There'll be concerns at times for people in the organization about, will they lose their jobs? And you can have pushback on that. It's very real. And the other is probably changing the paradigm on this, that it's not about people losing their jobs or AI and automation replacing jobs, although there will be some of that. The majority of it is actually around task replacement or task augmentation. And so in this video, this short video here is an interview between Wall Street Journal and Dr. Andrew Ng, who's best known for, he's the founder of Google DeepMind and Coursera. So really great to hear his perspective because he's right in the thick of it.
To sum it up, to start, what would you say are going to be the biggest positive and negative impacts on the workforce from AI over the next, say, 5 years?
I think it will be a massive productivity boost for existing job roles, and it will create many new job roles. And I don't want to pretend that there will be no job loss. There will be some job loss, but I think it may not be as bad as people are worried right now. I know that we're having an important societal discussion about AI's impact on jobs. And from a business perspective, I actually find it even more useful to not think about AI automating jobs, but instead AI is automating tasks. So it turns out that most jobs, we can think of as a bundle of tasks. And when I work with large companies, many CEOs will come and say, hey, Andrew, I have 50,000 or 100,000 employees. What are all my people actually doing, right? Turns out none of us really know in detail what our workforces are doing. But I found that if you look at the jobs and break them down into tasks, then analyzing individual tasks for potential for AI automation or augmentation often leads to interesting opportunities to use AI. And maybe one concrete example, a radiologist. We've talked about AI maybe automating some parts of radiology, but it turns out that radiologists do many tasks. They read x-rays, but they also do patient intake, gather patient histories, they consult with patients, mentor younger doctors, they operate the machines, maintain the machines, so they actually do many different tasks. And we found that when we go into businesses and do this task-based analysis, it often surfaces interesting opportunities. And regarding the job question, it turns out that for many jobs, if AI automates 20, 30% of the tasks in a job, then the job maybe is actually decently safe. But what will happen is not that AI will replace people, but I think people that use AI will replace other people that don't.
What are the types of tasks that you're seeing? And if you can say, what professions do you think are most, where you have the highest concentration of those types of tasks?
So some job roles really disrupted right now. Call centers, call center operations, and customer support is one. It feels like tons of companies are using AI to nearly automate that or automate a large fraction of that. I think sales operations, sales back office, those routine tasks are being automated. I think a bunch of others. I feel like we see different teams trying to automate some of the lower, legal work, some of the lower level marketing work.
So I love what you're saying there at the beginning, kind of like not even knowing what some of the tasks are that team members are doing. And that's not surprising, because it's very rare to see that teams and organizations have extremely clear goals and that their processes and procedures are mapped in detail and kept fresh and updated. And we're going to need to actually understand the tasks that people are doing in order for the AI and automation, this digital transformation, to take over and be useful. And so there's a really important starting point, which is really around task-based analysis. And Dr. Andrew Nong shares here the example of a radiologist. Now, I imagine we probably don't have any radiologists on today, but most of us will have been at some point in our lives to have an X-ray of some sort. And quite famously, the AI's ability to analyze an X-ray is now more effective than what a human is. And so what comes out quickly from that is the signaling or the signs like, well, we're not going to need radiologists anymore. But in reality, AI is still just a tool, and there are many other tasks that the human needs to do, and the AI will be the supporter in that role. Or even think of now that the AI will become the teammate and a member of that team. And so Andrew shared things like read the X-rays, patient intake to gather patient history, consult with the patients, consult with the doctors, operate the machines, maintain the machines, and many other tasks. And it's when we do the task-based analysis or that breakdown that we can start to see, where is it possible to apply AI and automation. Now, if we were to take this to customer service or customer, and having a customer service agent, very quickly, here's just 20 tasks that a customer service agent will do. So responding to the inquiries, resolving issues, processing orders, providing product information, assisting with account management, tracking shipments, handling returns and exchanges, technical support, collecting customer feedback, promoting products and services. And there's another 10 on the other side of the screen. And now this is a quick analysis utilizing AI to come up with these tasks. But really what's the most powerful thing to do is to interview the team around what they're actually doing and bring that forward, what they're doing and where they're spending their time. And you can do task-based analysis in a relatively manual way as a starting point, is to basically interview the individual. This is the most powerful way to do it. Have them brainstorm up all the different tasks that they do. And then from there, have them start tracking throughout the day where they're spending the time and what's consuming the most. Now, the reason why I encourage everyone to start with the brainstorming function is because often if we delegate this to a team member to start tracking their tasks, they'll find it overwhelming, or it's like a burden of additional work to do on top of their normal day. But when we get into a creative conversation where you're brainstorming and you're asking, and when you're brainstorming on this one, one of the tips are is to stand up. Well, there's a few tips actually. Stand up, put it on a whiteboard, have the team members gather around that's in that department, have one person act as a scribe, and you can facilitate it. Say, hey, for the next 7 minutes, that's all it's going to take. I want you to brainstorm all the different activities that you do in your role. Now, as they're all being shared, it's important that there's no right or wrong, it's no good or bad, there's no judgment. Every idea goes on the board. And as the facilitator throughout it, you keep saying, what else, what else, what else, what else? And by doing that, you'll actually have people thinking, oh, there must be something else. And so the ideas keep flowing out. And then from there, with that list, you have it converted and then say, right, as you progress for this next week, track all, doing these activities and also any other new ideas that come up as well, so that you can really get to the heart of what is happening in those roles. Now, when you've got that data, that's the point in time where you can then start looking at which of these tasks would be best transferred over to digital transformation with AI and automation. And you can even ask the team, of all these tasks that are going on, which are the ones that are the most challenging for you, or which are the ones that you might find a bit repetitive. And why it's useful asking those questions is to get the early buy-in in the change management process, because it's quite interesting. If we just sort of move in at pace and start making these changes, people can get quite fearful. As they say, people don't like change, but it's actually not quite true. People don't like change unless it's their choice. A person who's really bought in to make a change in their life becomes an unstoppable force. And so getting your team on side to make the change is a really important part, because this is both a people and a technology play. It will always will be. I would like to add, though, that areas like customer service, at least in larger organizations, are probably, as Andrew said there, they will be one of the most disrupted areas compared to others at this point in time. So if you do have a large customer support team, then some will have some concerns. But for most SMEs, which is the market that we help to support, we essentially are unable to deliver the level of customer support, at least not 24/7, because it's too expensive to do it. Now, if we look at a large organization like a Klarna, who recently came out to share that their AI assistant, their AI agents, actually handled more than 2.3 million conversations. 2/3 of their customers' support is done by the AI. It's now doing the work of 700 full-time people, but there's still about another 70 that actually oversee these and run it, because it's not a case of completely removing the jobs. It's just the jobs have moved to a more strategic level and they're able to do more with less. But yes, very clearly, a lot of jobs have been lost in this zone. So that supports what Andrew was saying. They're saying that the results are on par with the customer service agents. They're more accurate and they reduce the repeat inquiries, the speed now from 11 minutes down to 2 minutes to make resolutions. And they're able to now expand into more international markets with multiple languages. Overall, an estimated of $40 million in savings per annum there. I'm sure we'd all like that in our businesses. We need to get enough revenue to get 40 million in savings. And I think that when you get the really high quality customer service, you can now start to impact revenue as well, whether that's the repeat revenue or even at the early stage, because people hit our websites and we've got questions to ask. Now, this might all be, once again, great for multinationals, but what about the SMEs? Well, we've actually done our research to try and find the AI chat support to really support an SME, and we couldn't find what we needed in our businesses. So if I look at our people business, our clients need to have live chat that goes through to marketing and sales and onboarding of team members and finance department and IT and essentially every function. And where most of these AI chats fall over is they cannot get to the granular detail of the different departments, or even if they do get there, to actually allow that particular customer the experience around their own data to actually be really useful. And so that's why we're actually building this right now, specifically for SMEs. It'll be coming out in October. We're in a hackathon right now here in Cebu. There's a team in one of the rooms here that are busily coding away. We'll be releasing it within our own organization initially, and then a beta in October. But imagine this, where AI agents can actually work together like a human agent would do in an organization, in a sense that you can have a conversation with one and be passed over to a different department. And when you get to that department, so long as the client is authenticated, then the agent itself can access specific information. Like you might have different pricing tiers for different clients, or accessing the history of that experience with the client through the CRM information, or maybe you've just got some privileged access to other products and services for some clients versus others. Now, to do that and be able to provide this 24/7, you just imagine having to have a team to be able to do this 24/7. Now, I appreciate that not all of our organizations run 24/7 like ours, but we also do, if your clients are entrepreneurs, then chances are some of them, at the time of day that they get to respond to you or review information is actually after hours, because they're busy. And so to be able to give the support after hours, we think this is one of the areas that will in fact not remove jobs, but actually increase jobs, because you're driving additional productivity and support outside of normal hours, and all possible because of this digital transformation. The way these AI agents work as well is that they roll over to live agents or team members in your organization. And as we look at many of the products on the market that might come a little bit close to this, they're just really expensive for SMEs. They're around $99 per month, plus another $1 per resolution, or $99 plus $35 for AI resolutions. And so we think that pricing is just a bit too extreme. So we're bringing out a solution that is way more affordable, that makes sense, especially as the way we look at this. We've been using previously, still currently at the moment, HubSpot for customer support, and we put that across around 200 team members, so that everyone in the organization, if they're going to have an interaction with a client, they can do that. But it's just horrifically expensive, is the reality for small businesses. And similarly, we're also in a short term utilizing intercom in a couple of our products, and that's $99 a month plus $35. And it cannot get to this granular level, because at some point in time we need to roll over to the live support. But even when we roll over to live support, what's interesting, we're going to see this interesting shift where often there's a junior type role that handles live support. Those junior roles are going to completely disappear. They're going to all go to AI, and now we need to go straight up to the senior, more experienced person. But we might ask the question, how does someone get to senior and more experience if they don't have those years of experience in the junior role? Well, one of the answers to that is that even the live agents will be supported by AI co-pilots to answer their questions. Isn't that interesting? So we're going to find times where an end client might say, I'd just like to speak to a human. And when they go to the human will be supported by the AI as well. Now, I also predict for all of us that transition of wanting to transfer to a human, that will end up being lower than what we might have experienced in the current chatbots or phone agents today. And the research coming out of England at the moment, and this is done in the medical profession, is that 70% of the patients in a blind study, AI versus doctors on live chat, the 70% of the respondents were able to determine that it was AI chatting to them and not a live human. That's the only type that would respond to a live human. But the more important question was, which did they prefer? And the preference was for the AI doctor. And they were asked why. And the response was the answers were more empathetic, and there was more detail in the answer. And so it's interesting because the AI will always outperform for speed than the human and how fast it will type out. But the empathy consistency is something that we just cannot match as humans, which is fascinating. The AI has been more human than the human in its approach. Now, there will be these times, once again, when you're looking at solutions like this, or you're looking to augment sections of the business with AI and automation, where team members will get this concern. And globally, here's the stats from the World Economic Forum. They're expecting that AI will replace around 85 million jobs by 2025. Like, that's just almost here, right? Merry Christmas. We're in the Burr months. And yet, the job creation will exceed this in this forecast by 97 million new roles at the same time. Now, those new roles will be, a portion of them will be brand new positions that never existed before, but many of them are actually going to be existing roles, because as we see productivity gains increase, we'll need more people as businesses grow to support that. So I think this is a story that we don't hear enough of, because it's not as sensationalistic as job losses. And so important within our teams to realize, actually, job security comes from embracing AI, and those that are willing to increase their knowledge and skills in the organization, well, that will have secure jobs. Now, that principle has always been at play in an organization. We're now saying you've got a new tool to help support you there. And I know in our organization, we just keep hiring, right? It's the case of even with increased efficiencies, we're hiring more and more people. So, imagine being able to provide that 24/7 customer and sales support. In an SME, historically, this idea has been way too expensive. If you even just have one person to cover 24/7 throughout the week, and you've got the redundancy for when people are sick or on holidays. Last time I did the calculation, you need about 8 people to cover that, which is just crazy. It's a lot of cost there to be able to do it. So this is all going to change for us as small to medium enterprises very, very quickly. And what this starts to do is build the business case for digital transformation in just this one zone, where we really look at these 3 sides of the triangle. In the old days, we would say on any project or implementation, you cannot have all 3: time, quality, and cost reduction. And whereas now we're in a world where we're breaking physics, and you can, in fact, have each of these. And I'm excited to be able to bring you ideas on how you can have these each week in these digital transformation sessions. So as we wrap up for today, what you can expect in each of these episodes going forward, I'll be sharing with you very specific business cases in organizations, so that you can take those ideas and transfer them or convert them into your own businesses, to look at, like, what sort of impact would you like to see from a digital transformation in specific divisions within your organization. So it's like, well, if we're going to do it in marketing, what's the goal, and what are we looking to actually get as an outcome? Now, that one's going to be a really interesting one. I'll be opening up your minds to a new concept. At the moment in marketing, we often talk about marketing qualified leads, or MQLs. And then in sales, we talk about sales qualified leads, or SQLs. We're actually going to bring to you a new terminology called an AIQL, an artificial intelligence qualified lead. And it actually merges these two together to rapidly speed up the process when it comes to getting more. What you're really after is sales qualified leads at the end of the day. I'll give you future examples of what you can do in your business as well. Some leading edge ideas that you may not see out there yet, but will start to open your minds with what's possible. We'll also be sharing case studies, so real world examples of the applications of these. Also, some of the latest news on AI and automation makes sense as I'm seeing this. I'll bring it to you as well. And even, in fact, today, interestingly, it was released by OpenAI CEO for Japan that GPT-4 Next will be the next frontier model that will be released this year. So we're going to see another release from OpenAI, and it's he shared that it's 100 times more powerful than GPT-4. Wow. So look out. They're not calling it GPT-5 yet, which is quite interesting. But their Strawberry, which is the next big model, is being used to create synthetic data to actually train GPT-4 Next. So big things coming from OpenAI this year. I'm also going to give you some behind the scenes tours of our office and what we're doing here. So you actually have some time to meet with the team and hear from some of our team members on some of the cool things they're working on and products and the implementations that they're doing as well. Because I think that, opens this up to being a little bit more real. And what I hope that also gives you some inspiration for is to join us in November, where we're running Digital Transformation Week here in our offices where we build the technology. That's in Cebu in the Philippines. So it'll be 18th to 22nd of November. I hope I got those dates right this time. It's a Monday to Friday session. It'll be 3 hours in the morning each morning, and then you'll have free time to check out the city or just get hands-on and do your own hackathon for the week as you can set up items for your business. Looking forward to seeing you there. If you've got any questions, you can reach out to me, matt@multiply.tech. I can't see my screen. I hope I've got on there. Yeah, matt@multiply.tech. You can reach out to me there. Otherwise, looking forward to seeing you each week as we have these sessions. I'll keep them at 35 minutes today. And we'll make sure we're always posting them on our YouTube channel at AI Powered People as well. So thanks everyone for joining today as a little taster into digital transformation, and looking forward to getting into some detailed examples next week that you can start thinking about applying inside your own business. Thanks everyone. Have an amazing day. Bye for now.